into my heart. Oh, you look at me in ways I never loved. With you I know that this is all, so I don't need to take it slow. If you want me, then I believe that there's a simple remedy. We don't need no miracle, I think we've seen it all, just make the call. I'll come running over. We don't need no miracle, it's unconditional, just make the call, and I'll be yours. I'll come running over. We don't need no miracle, it's unconditional, just make the call, and I'll be yours. Don't need a miracle. Need a Oh, you open up a world behind the stars. Oh, you make me see the things I never saw. With you I know that this is all, so we don't need to take it slow. If you want me, then I believe that there's a simple remedy. We don't need no miracle, I think we've seen it all, just make the call. I'll come running over. We don't need no miracle, it's unconditional, just make the call, and I'll be yours. I'll come running over. We don't need no miracle, it's unconditional, just make the call, and I'll be yours.
Hello everybody, what's going on, guys? I hope everybody's doing good, doing well. Hello, I hope everybody's doing awesome. We are live and I am joined here today with all my awesome fellow streamers. We have that bald gamer in the middle, and as you can see, we have Mama Remy in our right side, Chadley on the left, and our new, well, actually, you know what's funny? It wasn't until Mama Remy recommended you and I was like, who?
Who's this? Who's this guy?
Who's this? So, Mama Remy, if you want to introduce him, you can go ahead and hold on. I have an ad. Go ahead.
Drum roll. Oh, I have bongos.
No, it's not drum roll, it's bongos.
It's
It's bongos.
bongos.
That's me.
TacoCast. Come on, baby.
How are you, everyone? How's it going, guys?
Good.
I hope everybody's been doing well, doing good. It's been quite a hectic month, hasn't it?
No kidding.
So much has
Yeah.
happened, and we've had lots of news, lots of craziness, but now TacoCast is here, and we can forget the craziness in the world and go into our beautiful gaming stuff, because there's a lot of news that's happening. Are we being rated?
I think we had one before we started.
Did we
Yeah,
have
one
one?
before we started.
Oh, zombie raid. Oh, snap. We got raided by Zombie Lord. What's up, Zombie Lord? Thank you for the raid, buddy. We need to grab that link. Super appreciate that, man. Have a taco. Oh, man. So how is everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing good, doing well. How was your weekend? Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's start with Remy, because I'm looking at you right now. Tell me, what's exciting? What's going on with your channel? What's new? What games have you been playing?
Pokemon. Then I couldn't shiny Ponyta. It was squares, which is rare. So I like freaked out.
Oh, that's right. They have the whole new like 2 types.
Yes.
Yay!
So but yeah, just a lot of Pokemon. Introduced some old games back to the channel that I want to finish. Otherwise, it's just the same old stuff. Nothing new.
Nice. What about you, Mr. Rick? What have you been up to?
Can you believe I'm almost at 1,000 hours of flipping Splatoon? It's
Holy
it's
man!
crazy. Yeah, so like I'm trying to come up with some fun things for that. And then of course I'm right there with Remy. Pokemans. So
Yeah.
I've been dipping my finger in the Pokemon ointment for a little bit, trying it out. And yeah. Other than that, just kind of chilling. Trying to creep my way up to 10,000 subscribers. So we'll see when that happens.
There you go, right? Aran, what about
Yeah.
you, my friend? What have you been up to? What's going on with your channel?
So I normally do a mix of Splatoon and Minecraft,
Yeah.
and recently we just opened up a new Java server for Minecraft, and I have not touched that for like almost a year. It's been a long time. So now we're finally get back into Java. A lot of my old community members who were with me from the beginning are coming back, so that's a whole lot of fun. And so things are going quite well, especially as we head into December. We're having a lot of fun.
Awesome. That's awesome. See, that's good. Things are going good.
Right.
Chadley, what about you, my friend? What have you been up to?
Well, I've been just playing. Actually, I started a couple new games on my channel. I started playing through. I'm gonna try to play through all the Donkey Kong Country games.
Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
So I just started. I played through the first one. So now the next one, this actually tomorrow, I guess I'll be playing the second one. And then I decided that I was gonna try to play through a bunch of the old Sonic the Hedgehog games too. So
Ooh.
Nice.
it's been forever since I played Sonic, but man, it's great to go back to it, and it's just really fun to play those. And obviously just Mario Maker 2 and then whatever I feel like playing over on Twitch as well, since I do stuff on Twitch once a week.
Yeah,
once a
yeah.
week as well.
That's right. That's awesome.
But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
when I do stuff on Twitch, it's kind of like whatever I feel like playing. I don't necessarily have like a particular schedule or anything with that.
Sure.
With that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. Yeah, no, I've been really addicted to Pokemon. Pokemon's got. See, the thing was because I played Let's Go Pikachu, I was like, it's an okay game, but it wasn't Pokemon, you know.
Right.
And
It's a lot
then
different.
yeah, it's really different. And then they brought this one. I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick it up. Maybe it will be good. Next thing you know, it was like I'm addicted. So I love
yeah.
playing Pokemon. And I've been playing a lot of GTA 5. I hadn't played it in a while.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I hadn't played it in a while, and I was like, you know what? Let's play. And then I forgot how stupidly comical and very crude that game is.
Yes.
Very. But yes, other than that, everything's been the same old. Still do Mario Maker. I'm finally getting to finish Luigi's Mansion because everybody else finished it. So now I can finally just kind of do it.
Yeah.
Do it on your own.
Yeah, exactly. It was overwhelming. Like you would open you would open your whatever you use, Twitch or YouTube or Mixer, and it's like Luigi's Mansion. I was like, oh my gosh.
So now you can do it at your own pace.
Exactly. I was like, okay,
Nice.
let's go ahead. All right, guys. There's lots of stuff to talk about, and I know there's lots of stuff that we're gonna be hanging on. But one of the biggest things is Stadia is finally released. We got our release date. Everybody's picked up or gotten their package, and the reviews are not looking good. It's a hot mess according to a lot of people. Lots of lag, lots of pixely stuff due to the internet issues. People are saying that it was false. You need a hard internet connection in order to run it perfect. Not to mention the rumors, and not even rumors, I should say, that they've been proven by developers that a lot of their games, they're doing it at 1080p, and then Stadia upscales them to 4K. So there's that too. So people are saying that maybe the reviews are too harsh and that they should wait for the improvements. That's only the beginning. Other people are saying, no, this is ridiculous. What do you guys think? Do you think we need time to fix it for improvements, or do you think that no, they were just rushing it and they made a mess of it? So let's start with Rick.
Yeah, so I feel like with a lot of new things, because this is like I mentioned earlier, dipping the finger in the ointment. So this is Google dipping their finger in the console ointment. And I feel like when anybody, anything, anywhere tries something new, there's always going to be some issues or maybe some ups and downs. The growing pains, if you will. And that's kind of where they're at right now. And you know, we're in an age where, you know, the cancel culture, people are really quick to be like, oh, I don't like it. This sucks.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah. So I feel like you know, I don't know too much about it, to be honest, but from what little I do know, I can already tell it's probably suffering from that, where like you're getting a lot of, you know, the good and the bad and the ugly, and you know, I feel like, you know, with anything, you got to give it a chance. You know, let them see what happens. Let them figure things out. Offer feedback, constructive feedback, and then if they fix it, great. If they don't, then guess what? Get rid of them.
Yeah,
But,
no.
like, you know, but you know, they're gonna, you know, they just came out, you know, and you know, they're gonna have their ups and downs. So I think, you know, I think it's got, they need to choose their next improvements or updates carefully, and then they're like, I guess before I end it, I guess the best way I can compare them is they're like, if you want to look back at the old console war, you had Sega Genesis, you had Super Nintendo, and then you had the TurboGrafx-16 that was just like, you know, kind of there. that's Google. It's like, you know, you got Nintendo here, you got you know, PlayStation here, and Xbox here, and then you got little TurboGrafx-16 Stadia, like, hey, look at me, I can do this too. But like, you know, I feel like.
Oh snap! We're being raided again.
I'm done though.
Oh, what's up, Easy? How you doing, buddy? Thank you for the raid. I super appreciate it. How you doing, Rosie? How's it going, guys? Thank you for the raid. No, and I agree with you. It's hard because like you have all these bigger consoles who have been in this game for years, and Google's like, okay, well, I want to dip my foot inside the gaming pool, something that realistically they have no experience in whatsoever. You know.
They also, the other companies have hardware stakes in it too. PlayStation, Xbox, all those hardwares. And kind of like Rick was saying, if they're dipping their finger in it, it's for them, Google has their infrastructure is set in their servers, their internet software. And so they don't have to go through the hurdle of developing a whole new like console to distribute to people. They can just deliver it over the internet, which that's technically their strength. But if we're seeing them cut all these corners in terms of upscaling to 4K and doing these different like clever tactics to try and pull this off, and now we're seeing where these weaknesses come through. I think it was probably a surprise to Google that these kind of things were, these hidden things that I think they were intending to not keep out in the public are being brought to light so quickly. But my assumption is that a conglomerate company the size of Google is probably going to do something to kind of either shapen up where they've gotten things wrong, or at least figure out a way to streamline things better, or give at least people clear directions on what to do. Obviously, we've noticed that some of the reviews are saying that you need to hardline things. You can't just rely on Wi-Fi or browse connections in order to do this stuff. So maybe with people doing more reviews and doing more test bed things, because we're getting reviews from some of the top people, Linus Tech Tips, Nexus reviews. These people do tech reviews for a lot of things. They are putting their hard benches to work to kind of work out the kinks of this stuff. Yeah. Not to say that Google doesn't do that. I'm sure Google does a lot of that kind of stuff, but when you give it to the broad user base, which is the internet, you get a lot different experiences, and Google probably has a better understanding of how to troubleshoot it.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, before I forget, if you haven't, please definitely go check out EZL. He took the time to rate us. We could take the time to check his channel out. Super appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, and like, I mean, one of the biggest things is not only are we dealing with that 4K issue, but apparently the Chromecast Ultra, is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thing that comes with it, it's overheating from the use of Stadia, which is weird because I wouldn't imagine it's streaming, right? So, but they're saying that when they use it with Stadia, it overheats. So that's kind of intriguing too.
You would also think that if it's their device that's for Stadia, you would think that troubleshooting for making sure it doesn't overheat would have came before they shipped it.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Chadley, actually, I wanted to get your what are your thoughts on this, especially because you do all the coding and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on all this lag and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, I can't really say much about it since I haven't actually seen it. Like, I don't like to make too many judgments on something unless I've actually done it myself or actually seen someone do it. Yeah, like because Corey actually streamed him using Stadia like
Yeah.
yesterday, I think it was. I really wanted to check it out. I didn't get a chance to, and I wanted to go back and watch I just wanted to watch his archive because he said nothing but good things about it from his end anyway. And but again, I think it's going to come. It as far as like on the development side, it's very intriguing to me, like how they're pulling all this stuff off. However, I mean, we've seen this with too many development companies where like we got to get it out, we can't delay
The
it
business side of
anymore.
it.
Like we got to get this thing out, and
Right.
they get
Meet
it.
deadlines.
They do the quality assurance enough that it's like, oh, it's working great here in these like 5 different scenarios. Obviously, you can't account for every type of scenario, but like a lot of these people that are giving bad reviews, like there's so many different factors that could be causing them to have a bad situation with it. Like just internet alone. If that's your bottleneck and internet is your bottleneck, you're not going to have a good time with this.
Yeah.
It's going to be pixelated. It's going to be laggy. You're going to have input lag. And it's all because either your internet connection is like spiking up and down, or
That's
like
true.
it's just not able to keep a constant connection. And again, like there's not much to it on our end. Like you open up the browser, you launch the game, and you're just seeing streamed footage from a supercomputer. So if it's not your internet, then what else could it be? Like,
Yeah.
like it's
Not
either
really available.
it's either the computer you're serving it from, or it's the fact that like maybe it's just like your way, like your pat, like because there's a whole other thing of like I don't want to get too technical, but like how the internet works, like depending on where you are in the earth, in relation to like one of Google's like server hubs, you know, because we don't know if they have this like all this Stadia stuff. Probably it might be like a network of computers
Yeah.
that are all over the place, not just one central location where there's just like a fridge of supercomputers.
Skynet.
There's
Skynet.
there's probably multiple fridges somewhere, and I'm sure like
Almost like
some fridge company's probably making a lot of money, but
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 like a torrent thing where the torrent you're pulling data from
exactly, like
processing areas.
if I'm in the UK, Google would be smart to have some kind of system set up in the UK so that that person wouldn't have to go and try to reach out off to a satellite and bounce back down to the US to and then have to go back. Like it's just too long of a path,
connection.
and signals can only travel so fast, at least with our current technology. So like the closer you are to the server, the better connection you have. And some people may have that issue where depending on where they live, the server that's closest to them just doesn't give them the signal that they need.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, until I can see it for myself, like I really don't want to say anything bad or good about it. That's why, like that's why I love YouTube, because, or like just being in the community. You guys play games that I never really get a chance to play.
Yeah.
But then I get to experience it through you guys, and then I get my own opinion of the game just by watching you guys play it. Not necessarily me playing it, but I can see your reactions. I can see how difficult or easy you are playing through the game, and I can get my own opinion on how it works. So that's why I'm very curious to see Corey. I want to see, since he's like in our community, like so close to us in the community, like I want to see his reactions to how it works for him before I can really make any type of and like Rick said, it's brand new. And we've seen like even just basic games that come out and they're just crap, but then they turn around, they make the games better. I forget, there was that one game that came out and they made like all these bunch of improvements to it, and now is that No Man's Sky, that where it came out? It wasn't really that great. And from what I heard, and because I've never watched anyone play it, but I've read plenty of things and heard from plenty of people in the community, just like
Yep.
the game wasn't good. It was unfinished. Like you could tell that it was
Yeah.
unfinished. And then the company realized that they made up for it. They added a whole bunch of other stuff to it. They made the game where people really enjoy it now.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what's going to end up happening with Stadia. Either it's going to flop, or Google's going to be like, okay, we really need to dedicate time to this and make it work.
And step it
Like
up.
they don't want to make it be another Google Glass situation
Ooh.
at all.
Yeah.
They
that's
don't,
true.
because you got to think they've been working on this for like years now.
Mhm.
So like they really don't want this to fail.
It's in their interest to keep it alive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I wonder if also part of the internet connectivity issues is like, you know, that there's some motherboards and like some computers that have like game prioritization with their internet, or
Mhm.
essentially like your router or the way that your computer or your console in this case like processes your internet connection, it prioritizes sending the game data versus like your sister who's like streaming Netflix in the next room or whatever it is. And so like maybe some of these things where Google and their test benches, like they're not going to see these kinds of like weird interactions and like inconsistencies, but that only comes up when people actually start testing these like in their homes and in their situations.
Yeah.
That can be another part.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a crazy situation. Mama Remy, what do you think of all this with the Stadia?
I think they pushed it out. Sorry, I think they pushed it out for the holidays.
True.
That it
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily ready. I think Stadia has a great potential to
Mhm.
be like the next like gaming platform, like streaming, because we already have, it went from, the only time you could see movies was on, at the theater, and then they started putting movies at the TV, and then it was VHS tapes, and it was DVDs, and it was Blu-ray, and then like they had like the red boxes. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yep.
Oh,
You could
yeah.
go like rent movies from the red
Okay,
box.
boomer.
Oh jeez.
Those things.
Hey, I still rent movies from Redbox. Thank you very much. It's amazing. It's only $1. Anyways, so now we have like Netflix and stuff where you can stream movies. So why couldn't you stream games? The concept is great, but the what's the word?
The nuance, the cool new stuff about Stadia. That's
No,
better than
the
Roblox.
no.
Okay, boomer.
The
Stop
delivery. Stop it. The delivery was badly done. I can't think of the word now.
The
But
concept
The
is good. The
release?
implementation is bad. That's what.
thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yep, that's what he meant. Thank you,
talk.
Meg.
But yeah,
We're
it has
playing
great
charades
potential.
now. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
we are.
we are
Shades with
playing.
Remy. On TacoCast. You get a taco. But no, it has great potential, but I think that they pushed it out too early because they wanted to make the holidays, they wanted to make money instead of making a great product. The
Yeah.
product has potential to be good and to be the next best thing and to basically be the pioneer into a new like generation of hardwareless, gaming,
Yeah,
but
Cloud
they
gaming.
rushed it.
for sure.
Yes.
And then like
They
I
rushed
mean,
it.
we do have Xbox that does theirs, and then PlayStation has theirs too. And they've been these two companies, these big gigantic companies, have been in the business for a long time. So I feel like they can implement it a little bit better. But I really don't know where Google is trying to fit in, because from what I'm reading, I mean, the biggest complaint I'm getting from any channel is it's a great concept, but they feel that they shouldn't be paying full price for games that we can get now for $29 or $20, and you're paying on there $59 apparently. I don't have Stadia, so I don't know how true all that is, but that's what they're saying, right? So that makes it a little bit difficult on their end too. But I mean, hopefully they can fix it, and we get the improvements that everybody's been waiting for.
This may be a dumb question, but besides Stadia, besides like obviously the hard consoles like Xbox, PS, PlayStation, whatnot, Are there any other like major cloud gaming services in direct competition with Stadia at this point?
No, there was one a long
I
time
haven't
ago
heard of any myself either.
that
Okay.
did do one, and their main focus was PC gaming.
Okay. So
But
this is more just like everything.
yeah, they didn't last long because it was too early. It was something that
Yeah.
it was like doing Netflix for the first time, where nobody was like really into it, but they failed, yeah, unfortunately. And then
Right.
Stadia is the next
Yep.
guy to take it.
I'm waiting for Disney Plus to add a gaming section.
Oh
to
my
their
gosh.
services.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
Bad idea.
Google, well, they might have a competition very soon
Mhm.
because
From
I don't know if you
upcoming
guys heard that Amazon might be getting into it.
Ooh.
Oh,
Boom,
Because
boom, boom. The big players coming
yeah,
in.
this was something that I think just came out and was rumored in the news. So I don't know if it's like official, but people have been talking about. There's a buzz about people talking about Amazon possibly doing something with incorporating Twitch and doing things very similar to Google, and how Google had planned on incorporating YouTube with Stadia,
Mhm.
and Amazon was thinking of pulling in their resources, because I would think that the next biggest company other than Google that could pull this off would be Amazon, because Amazon is, as far as like servers go, like they are the next biggest company probably as far as like server power in the world.
Mhm.
Which
They could
Pure
easily,
internet.
and they could pull this off probably.
Yeah,
and I could
which
see them
if-
wanting to.
if you think about it, it would make sense because Amazon is with Twitch, right? So
Yeah, they own it.
Mhm.
yeah, so then you would have that direct competition in the sense of,
Yep.
well, you can do it with gaming. Guess what? We can do it too. So
And they
there-
have their
What's that song? Anything you can do, I
I
can
can-
do.
yeah.
No, you
they also
can't. Yes, I
have
can.
they have their Fire Sticks, so
Oh yeah,
they could come out with something very
E-
similar to the Chromecast Ultra
every company
that
does.
doesn't get set on fire, but it still has fire in the name.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
I can imagine to control my next game with a fire stick.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, so
Gaming with a remote control, boomer style.
Oh
my
jeez.
gosh.
hey, the Wii's not that old.
I mean,
it's a
it's a
nev-
control.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
Yep.
But yes, no, for sure. That's crazy.
It's inevitable. So
Yeah.
that, I mean, if Amazon doesn't do it, somebody, I mean, is gonna do something similar.
Well, it's
and-
funny because like whatever Google does, Amazon seems to be behind them, or if Amazon does something, Google seems to be behind them.
yeah.
So those two have always been,
Right. And,
but
and hopefully that's what kind of drives
E,
improvement too. That's kinda why-
exactly, and that's the
kinda
thing,
why I
right?
brought it up.
It's a, if you think about it, it's a healthy competition. It's like Sony and
Yeah,
Xbox, right?
Exactly.
Whatever Xbox does, Sony can do better. Whatever Sony does, Xbox can do better. So I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it only leads to more improvements.
Yep.
All right. Well, there you go, Stadia. I wish Corey was here because I really wanted to hear his actual feedback on it.
Sure.
Because he got a chance to play it and everything.
He gave me a small statement because I asked him if he wanted me to like relay any information.
Yeah.
It's nothing big. He's just saying that this is what he told me. He's like, basically all the bad stuff people are talking about, I've literally experienced none of it.
Hmm.
He says it's been 100% perfect experience for me so far.
Okay.
And he also was in the early beta program before they called it Stadia and said the same thing. He
Yeah.
said when he was testing it in the small closed beta group,
Yep.
it ran fine for him, and it's still working for him with Stadia with it being called Stadia. So like I said, I think the biggest thing is your internet connection has to be able to do it. And we don't know, like some of those people might have been trying to do the 4K and just don't have the internet power to do 4K, but they didn't want to drop it down to 1080 to see if it fixes the lag.
For sure. No, for sure. I agree.
Stuff like that, like because they have those different quality settings for a reason, and I'm sure if you could get a crystal clear 720p, it's playable.
It's a
It
smoother
might-
experience.
Exactly. And here's
It
the
might
thing, like
not-
for a lot of people, 4K, sorry, Chadley, they see 4K And then the 1080p, no, I want to do 4K because that's the latest.
Yeah, I have a 4K TV, so I should be able to do it.
Exactly.
I want this.
I keep hitting
Yeah.
the mic. Exactly. I want this. I need to have this. And if it doesn't work, well, then it sucks. The product sucks. It doesn't work. So
Unacceptable.
unacceptable.
0 out of 5 stars.
Exactly. That's exactly it, right? That's exactly
Not
it.
my Stadia.
Oh man. All right. Well, so PS5 rumors, they're coming out now, left, right, and center. They've been coming out like crazy because nobody hears anything from Sony, nor do they hear anything from Scarlett. But the reason why PlayStation's a little bit more hotter is because they didn't talk about it at all. So
Really?
yeah, like they haven't talked nothing about it. The most we get out of them is what they're saying. So basically what we're getting it hit with is we got the control patent that was showed off, and it looks like there's a couple of improvements, nothing major. They're saying virtually, this was tweeted out, that it was virtually no load times and no install times. So I'm assuming that when they mean install times, you know how you just put the disc in for the PS4 and it starts installing? I think they're saying that that's kind of gone. The release date was leaked out apparently. Now this is with a grain of salt. November 20th, 2020. That's a Friday at $499 US. So they're saying that Sony's going to take a hit on their pricing in order to deliver something nice to us.
And stay relevant within people's price range too.
Exactly. So what do you guys think? Do you think these rumors and leaks are the real deal, or are they just overhyping it because it's Sony and people want to overhype it? So
Well, they also have a full year too, and there's a lot of things that you can do within a year. So it's possible that, and I don't know if this is what a lot of companies do, but speculation says maybe this is what they're predicting. Like low installation times, low like speedy stuff and whatever. Like if they expect that they will get to that technological point in a year, I wouldn't be surprised. And regarding that no installation time, especially if you have a disc, there's a lot of games nowadays. Overwatch is a good example, at least on the PC, where it'll load if you download it like fresh. If you do a fresh install, half the game is required to play, but then the other half is like maps and textures and stuff like that you don't need for the core game. And so it could be that what they're delivering on the CD is the base game. So when you pop it in, you can immediately start playing, but then it might start in the back end, then downloading in the extra content on the side. So I don't see those as being unreasonable claims. I don't think they're impossible as far as like rumors go. Release date, and my birthday is on February 30th. Like release date. I mean, it's fine. So it'll come next year. Me personally, me and my family owned a PS3 and it was one of our favorite consoles. I did not own a PS4 just because like I have some games. I don't even have a PS4, but I still have Horizon Zero Dawn, so I want to play it. But I'm honestly waiting for the PS5.
Don't lie, you stuck it into your PC.
Yeah, I know. Error 404. I'm gonna get a blue screen death. But like, I'm sticking it out, and I think with the backwards compatibility, it's worth it. I have heard of PlayStation Now as far as that being like that might be a great option for people like in the meantime. And then I guess from a hardware perspective, $500, it's staying relevant. But rumor has it is that consoles are going to become more expensive just because they're incorporating some of the latest hardware, and they are up to par. Like a lot of them are up to par with like good desktop computers. That technology has just come to a point where it's that possible. So
no, exactly. I mean, if they're gonna take a hit and a loss, then it's doable to do $499.
Right.
But no, you're right. Like you can go out, build a decent PC for $600, let's say, or you can build a monster of a tank for $3,000. But most people are gonna go ahead and build a $600 PC, and then they find out that now PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 6 or PlayStation whatever is gonna be right behind, the best PC or possibly the best PC. So it's getting there. It is getting there.
And it has all the console exclusive titles and everything else with what they have.
Yeah. Rick, what are your thoughts on PlayStation 5, buddy?
Dude, I'm pumped because, like, I know I do a lot of Nintendo crap on my channel, but like, I grew up like, I think we touched on this the last time we were actually, but I kind of was like a back and forth with PlayStation, Nintendo guy. So like, I do have a PlayStation 4, and I do think that's the right move, Aderon. Just hold it out because I think I'm 99% sure they're planning on making it backwards compatible a little bit, at least with like PlayStation 4 games when they release the PlayStation 5. So I'm really pumped.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. No, I'm reading the chat. Yes, he is. But and also I'm gonna be going. What I'm hoping is I'm gonna be going to PAX East, and I'm hoping maybe I'll see some hands-on.
That's true.
PlayStation 5 stuff. But I don't know if they're gonna keep trying to play the mysterious route and keep like a low profile or what. But I'd like to think by then maybe they'll try to like at least at the very least make an announcement. I think that's probably where they would announce it.
Right.
But backtracking a bit, I am kind of annoyed that you reminded me. I forgot about it until you reminded me. I hated how they literally did a stupid state of play, and like literally they didn't say anything about PlayStation 5.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then 2 weeks later, they're like, by the way, here's the PlayStation 5's coming out, and I'm like, you could have been like you could that to like your actual state of play and made
2
it somewhat
weeks later.
interesting. It's like that was the most anticlimactic way to like bring it up, and so like. So you're right. Like they have been kind of just like, dumbing it down a bit. Like they've been kind of keeping it under the radar. And but other than that, and I'm excited because it's giving me a reason. I'm gonna ignore this chat, by the way. It's giving me it's giving me a reason to get a 4K TV for Black Friday. So
No.
that next gen is coming, and that'll be the time to get a 4K. So.
4K? What are you talking about, man? 8K is the way to go.
All right, that's come on. But no, I'm pumped. I'm excited. I think we're ready. We're ready for the next gen, so that Google Stadia can already be outdated.
Boom! There you go.
So this whole thing is to build up Stadia, be like, oh, it's not that bad. Smash it with PS5.
No.
Right there you go. And Stephie makes a point, man. PlayStation needs to get some new hirees for that marketing team, man, because I don't know what they're doing there. They're doing something.
Yeah.
Someone got fired there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
The notes went with them. Oh, it went with Jim. He's gone.
He's gone. Mama Remy, what are your thoughts on the PS5?
If that's what the price is, it's in my price range. I'll actually be able to own a PlayStation again, and not like the 2 that's sitting in my closet that I never play because I can't play any of the new games. Now I have a PS3, but it's handed down, and it's not like I don't feel like it's mine.
Oh, okay.
I don't really play it, and I got it to play like one game, and that was it. And I've only played like half of it. So honestly, everything else I feel like is just rumors, and I'm one of those until I see proof, it's rumors. Like I don't believe it, but I'm kind of hoping that part's true because that's within a lot of people's price range.
Yeah.
At least, especially for a new console, especially with all of like the stuff that they're bragging that happens with it, that's coming with it, that is its core features. I hope it doesn't look like what they showed us from that last, like, that looked like just,
I think that one was proven to be just a dev kit, right? That image. I think it was just a dev kit.
Yeah.
But it was still really ugly. And there's a lot of people that like aesthetics, and I don't want to pay $500 for something that looks really ugly.
A brick.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping that the price is like legit, but at the same time, like I said, it's just rumors. I don't believe any of it until I see from them this is what it's going to be. And then of course since around the Thanksgiving, you're going to hope that they're going to have Black Friday sales, but they're not, and it's going to be the same price, and it's going to sell out everywhere. And then there's going to be a bunch of people that buy up a bunch of them, and then there's going to be overpriced because they're going to sell them because everyone's going to want them for Christmas. So you either have to buy it like right as it comes out, or you're not going to get it, or you're going to pay like double if you want something like that for Christmas.
Exactly. A lot of people do that, I hate when people do that. Okay, PS5 for sale. Oh, sorry guys, I'm busy. But no, pre-order. Yeah.
Pre-order.
No, I agree with you 100%. It comes in a really that spot where it's like before holidays, and a little bit after Black Friday. No, before Black Friday, right? Because 20th.
Yep.
And Black
20th.
Friday is what for you
Uh,
guys?
It's 28th or something like that.
Yeah,
Something like
it's
that, yeah.
28. Day of
So of
Thanksgiving.
course they're gonna slap it right there, right before. Chadley, what are your thoughts on the PS5, buddy?
I mean, I don't follow PlayStation much, but so I don't know anything about the price leak and the release date or anything. I mean, I do think that the price is right for what they are saying, but that's going to be in the system. Like $500 for that beefy of a machine, like doesn't sound unreasonable, I should say.
Yeah.
Like I was expecting them to come back and say $600 to $700 for what they were saying that it was able to do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's not going to be the dev kit. So I mean, ever since PlayStation 2, like most of the PlayStations style-wise, like aesthetically, like on the design, have all been very similar to each other, with just minor tweaks and stuff. And that dev kit is like so far off from what it ever has looked like in the past that I'm sure that's just because like they're still trying to figure out like how to make the heat sinks smaller and be able to still cool the system, because a system that powerful, like it's going to need some impressive cooling mechanisms to keep it from overheating. So
Do we know by chance when they announced the PS5 thing? It was 2 weeks after the PlayStation.
Yeah, it was
Direct.
roughly. It was just literally like just a statement, or maybe like a tweet or something, like right after their state of play. It was very dumb. Like I was actually like shocked that they didn't even like what. Why did they wait? Like what was the holdup? if they know they're gonna make it, then why not just say it?
Yeah.
You know.
No, for sure.
So I wonder if they did it like at least if they did it a while ago. Another part as far as like what affects the design and whatnot is that manufacturers, chip manufacturers like Intel, AMD, Nvidia, these companies are vying and trying to get into position to get their chips into consoles like this.
Yeah.
And a lot of times even Intel and AMD and Nvidia don't know what their chipsets are going to look like a year ahead of time, just because technology is moving this fast.
Yeah.
So it could be that, and hopefully this means that the dev kit that we saw is like, oh, this is a mock design of what this could look like. But when they don't actually know like what chips are going to be in there yet and what heat sinks they need, like Chadley said, that could make a major difference in what we actually see at the end product. So on the plus side, chipsets are moving to smaller, what's called lithography, which is how thick all of the connections are. They're moving down to 7 nanometer, which is quite small, but that means that you get a lot more power in a small platform, which is super helpful for things like laptops, phones, and in this case consoles.
Exactly.
So by next year, AMD is going crazy in their development. They're doing a really good job. So hopefully that $500 price tag is not only coming with a lot of bang for your buck as far as your performance goes, but also keeping costs down as well. So yet to be seen.
Yeah, exactly. It was only let's just changing the subject. It was only a matter of time that Intel would have been kicked off its throne.
Trust me, I'm very thankful for it.
You know, I mean, I've been Intel all the way up until this well, not the 8th. I never got the 8th generation or 9th. I'm on the 7th still. But I can't do anything with mine, and then I'm seeing all these rise and they're doing extraordinary things. I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to go back to AMD, and they're showing some great potential. Good for them for sure. One of the things is we've developed a lot of different cooling things over the years, and I've never seen any developers come out with water cooling of some sort. You know, Corsair has like all that type of stuff, and I wonder, why do you think that would be?
Are you talking water cooling for computers or
no, for like a console, let's say? You know, I've only seen people actually do it themselves.
There's a very specific reason, and it's because air cooling is actually ironically effective. Like, air cooling is phenomenal, and there's a lot of tests that say liquid cooling is only better because if you have a large water tank, water obviously water has a lot more heat absorption ability. And so over like a long period of time, the huge water tank that you have is going to cool a lot more for the long term, because eventually the fins in your air intake are just going to heat up to a point where you're not cooling as effectively. But if you're running for a long time, that water is going to absorb more heat.
Yeah.
The problem is that Corsair, like you said, is making these like all-in-one super cool RGB cooler things where yes, it is water cooling, and yes, it's all in its tight little loop, but you don't have the advantage of air cooling's simplicity, and you don't have the advantage of big tank water coolers because they have more water. You're at this awkward middle zone that ends up running into more problems because you have fans plus a water pump.
Yeah.
It's hard to know when the water pump dies. There's been leaks, like literal like leaks of the tubing, and so all of those factors, like small form water cooling, it's thank you, Remy. Small form water cooling looks really fancy, but especially for consoles and like small form stuff, it's best to just for them to stick with air cooling. The camel water home. It's like a camel.
The camel one. No, there you go, guys. The more you learn, right?
Mass marketing.
you know.
Yep.
The more you know.
Mass marketing systems with water in them does not sound like a good idea.
No, and
No, for
talk
sure.
about shipping as well.
Exactly.
Oh, geez.
PS5,
I
latest news. Sony loses.
Hey, it doesn't hurt to ask,
$thousands.
right?
Yeah.
Shipping's
No,
$100 based on the weight of the water.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
that's
there
true.
you go. There you go.
Yeah.
We've gotten new leaks from PlayStation that their consoles
Oh,
have
jeez.
leaked. Oh no. Yeah, exactly.
My box is dripping.
No, my box is dripping. Guys, I'm doing a PlayStation unboxing. Oh, it's all wet.
Why is my
Washed
table wet? I haven't even opened the box.
All right, Pokemon Sword and Shield is out. Lots of reviews, lots of things have been said. Some of us actually gotten our hands on it and started playing it. A lot of us have been watching it. So let's go ahead and hear what your takes are on this game and the controversy about the graphics not being what they wanted. I want to know what you guys are thinking about it, because I have my opinion. You guys have your opinion. Do you believe that this was just people finding a reason to complain about the game, or it's a legitimate reason? Let's go ahead and start with Remy with this one.
The people that are complaining about the game obviously hasn't played the game, so they could just into the write a legit review and then come back and talk to me about it. The graphics are fine, the gameplay is fine, the story is amazing, and the shiny hunting is so much fun.
5 out of 5 stars from Mama Remy.
10 out of 5 stars. It's amazing.
Oh, there you go. It's amazing.
But no, like seriously, it's one of the most fun games that I've played in a long time. Minecraft. So I've been hardcore playing it since it came out. Like I've like been on the couch sick, and I'm playing it. Like I'm like, gotta catch the Pokemon. Catch the Pokemon. You know,
Dedication.
So, like, you can't put it down. It's so good. And then there's only like one thing about the entire game that I can legit like be kind of like about,
Mm-hmm.
and that's I wish there was a mass release of Pokemon, because when you shiny hunt, you get a bunch of mons, and you can't release them, at least when you do the Masuda method, and there's no mass release. You have to take so much time
one by one.
delete everything one by one. It's like Nintendo needs to have a mass release on the Switch friend list, so
Ooh.
Yep, there we go. There you go.
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Rick, what about you, brother? I know you've been playing tons of Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, no, it's great. I agree with Remy. Like, I think, all the naysayers need to shut the up. And, no, but like, no, it's like, come on. I was raised on like Pokemon Blue and Red and Yellow. Sprites graphics, man. These graphics are like miles better than that. So if people are nitpicking about that, then whatever. So the graphics are fine. It looks great. Cat's in the chat.
Yep. Kitty cat.
I think the gameplay is great. Actually, believe it or not, I think it's one of the better games in the Pokemon franchise, with one exception. and I can disagree with Remy here. I can find a gripe. I think it's a little bit on the easy side. Because I've actually already filled the Pokedex. I got all 400 of them,
Whoa.
and I still have a Master Ball. I didn't have to use a Master Ball. I didn't feel threatened trying to catch things. I did do a lot of trades, but even some of the harder ones, they were pretty much just a few throws and that was it. They were caught. Like I didn't feel like it was that difficult to do. So I do wish that they made it a little bit more challenging. But other than that, I think it's a great game and I love it. And I really would recommend it to people that are on the fence. Make your own opinions.
Yep, for sure.
It's a great game.
For sure. Chadley, what about you, my friend? I know you haven't played it, but what are your thoughts
No,
on it?
I haven't. I've watched a little bit from people, and I mean, from what I can tell, the graphics are fine. I mean, I don't think I would be complaining about the graphics too much.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. My cat is on my keyboard. He's busy watching all of you right now. Figaro is watching all of you, yes. But I mean, I've watched Rigo play it for a little bit. I think I popped in on Remy from time to time. And pretty much everybody that's played it. I mean, Rick has even played it. I think I even popped in his stuff. So I mean, I'm enjoying watching the game. I want to play it. So I haven't paid too much attention to the story because if I'm going to play it, I don't want it to be ruined for myself because I really enjoyed playing Fire Red when I did play through that game. So and this one seems like it's a good mixture of old style and some of the features from Let's Go. Because like you could see some of the Pokemon in the grass, which you never had that before. But at least you still have random encounters and stuff too. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have much else to say in the game. I know my one son's really interested in getting it, so maybe if we get it for him, then I'll be able to finally get to play it. So
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. What about you, my friend? What are your thoughts on Pokemon?
Oh, cat!
He's gotten so big.
He's huge, isn't he?
he's literally sitting here watching you guys. It's like
if you're asking me, Rigo, I don't have my toes as deeply into the Pokemon realm as others. If I had the time for it, I would love. But I think I've talked with some friends. I don't know how much I'm gonna do it, but from what I've seen, like obviously, Pokemon fans up and down are loving it, and that is. I want to kind of participate in that too because I actually kind of thought back. The last time I played Pokemon wasn't since like Diamond-ish. It's been a long time. So whether I do it for whether we do it for myself or for my channel, it looks really cool because I think one of the things I guess I missed out on necessarily was I never did Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee. And those, from what I know, those are the first two that ever had the kind of like, I'm going to call it Breath of the Wild style, where you've got Pokemon in the grass and it's not top down. It's more 3D and kind of like interacting with the world. So I always kind of was like, oh, that's a really cool feature. I'd love to try. He's probably coming out of this. Because that's a feature I never got to experience, I would be most excited for that. And it doesn't really matter what people say about like, oh, the graphics and blah 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 and the naysayers and whatnot. Like I would look past that just because it's a unique experience. It's a unique looking game.
For sure. Myself, I only played the first gen, so red and yellow, and then I missed all the other years and jumped up to Moon, played that a little bit, and then and then it wasn't until Let's Go Pikachu that I picked it up, and even then it's still back to the first gen. So this is my official real Pokemon game, and like I said, I got addicted hands down right away with it. So I'm very happy with what they've done, and it's not overly complicated. The only thing I didn't understand was this whole breeding thingamajigger. Remy kind of explained it to me, so that helped.
I'll teach you, Rico. It's easy.
So, although they did say in the game, I don't know where Pokemon eggs come from. It's a mystery. But yet you breed the 2 Pokemon and you got a Poke egg. So I guess they haven't learned yet. Remy.
Let me tell you.
I had a whole stream about that.
Now, the most important question of all we need to find out is Groki, Scorbunny, or Sobble? Go!
Ladies first.
Groupie gang.
Groki gang right here.
Sobble.
Right here.
Right here. Gotta go with Sobble. Well, but I usually always go with water type anyways. So.
Fair.
I never.
This is
Yeah.
the first year I actually went with a water type.
Usually I go for fire, but
fire.
I like the
Yep.
monkey. Up until he turned into a banana.
Oh.
He evolves and he looks like a banana. I'm like, what
he
the
does.
heck?
Now that you think about it.
Yeah. I haven't
does
gotten
look-
his last evolvement yet, so I'm excited to see what he turns into then. Score bunny, so yeah, I see it. So okay, this one I'm very excited for. This one like has me super hyped. So after almost what I would say, Chadley, 12 years about or so, maybe more. Half-Life is getting another game.
Yeah.
Valve came out and said,
Yeah.
we are releasing Half-Life Alyx VR. That is more of a prequel. It's about Alyx. If you guys don't remember who Alyx is one of the female characters in Half-Life 2 who helps your character out, Gordon,
Right.
and I guess you could say his love interest. So we haven't seen anything on Half-Life since episode 2. That was the last thing we saw. And then magically out of nowhere, they tweeted Half-Life Alyx VR.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is their way of, okay, if we sell tons of this game, we're pushing Half-Life 3? Or is this one of those things where they're just like, hey, we have to push our Oculus Rift, our VR, because it's not
Yeah.
selling? So let's start with Rick.
Well, I definitely think it's a VR push, because I think they already know like the demand for Half-Life 3 is there. Like that's probably one of the most talked about, anticipated, not released games of like
Ever.
all the time. Like, when's Half-Life 3? When's Half-Life 3? Are you gonna do Half-Life 3? Like, I'm sure if they did like an Ask Me Anything right now, the number one question would be like, when's Half-Life 3? and so like, so I think, now that you mentioned it, I think it definitely is probably just to try to push their VR. And that said, it is good news for fans like you who are excited about it. Now, personally, me, I missed out on Half-Life 1 and 2, so I'm about as excited for it as Animal Crossing. But no, I'm just kidding.
Shameless jab.
Shameless jab. But it is exciting for fans that have been waiting for a long time because it's something new. So that's a plus. It's something new in the Half-Life franchise. And
Yep.
From what I know, it does look like it could be beneficial for like, to get more interest into VR. Because it is probably one of the more demanding or well-known franchises to have a VR game. So
Right.
now whether or not that'll help them, I don't know. I'd like to think it will, maybe, but whether or not that means Half-Life 3 confirmed, I guess only time will tell. But I do think it's a step in the right direction for fans that want it.
For sure, no, for sure.
Kami wants Portal 3.
Man.
I want Team Fortress 3. Can we have that too?
Yeah.
Can we have our cake and eat it, please?
Right, there you go. What are your thoughts, Chadley?
When I saw the trailer, I was super excited actually for it. I mean, I've done very little with VR, but Half-Life, I've always enjoyed Half-Life, the whole series, like from the very first game to when I first started streaming and played Half-Life 2, and then I was able to play episode 1 and 2 thanks to Rigo. So like I remember like that was back when I first started streaming. So like Half-Life's like, and I never completed it. Like I had Half-Life 2 like for the longest time, and I got stuck at one point and I just stopped, and then I never played it again until I streamed it on YouTube. And I mean, yeah, so like I'm super excited to see what this game has to offer, especially because it's not like some small tech demo type piece. Like they're saying it's a full game. They're saying that it's potentially going to be as long as Half-Life 2. So like you're probably talking about close to 10 to 12 hours of gameplay. So like this isn't a small game. It's just a full on game experience to expand on the story and the lore of Half-Life. So, and it seems like it's from Alex's point of view. So like we all know who she was in what Half-Life. I guess she was introduced in Half-Life 2.
Yep.
And if you know anything about the story of Half-Life 2 and how it ended in episode 2, like you hear her dad talking to her, so you obviously know that this takes place
Right.
Yeah.
before Half-Life 2 or during Half-Life 2 or somewhere in between. So
Yeah, from what I'm reading, they're saying, everybody's saying that it's a prequel set between the starts of a second Half-Life. So it is a prequel. So it looks like it's like right as Half-Life 2 is starting, but before.
Right.
Yeah.
And Chadley, do you own a VR headset?
No.
So
No, I want to. Like, supposedly this is supposed to be because Valve is coming out with their own VR headset,
Right.
but it's supposedly going to work with Oculus and Vive as well.
Gotcha.
So
I'd
be curious to see if it's optimized for Valve's headset,
true.
but either way, I mean, the graphics from that trailer look phenomenal. So.
And depending on how the devices can handle it, and for me, like I've seen a lot of VR titles, but I've not really had a game ever like wow, like totally pulled me in. Like I'm gonna get VR because of this game, and I wonder if for a lot of people, especially those who are dedicated Half-Life fans, if this would be a game that's like, all right, this is why I make the move and make the jump to invest in VR.
Yeah.
Because the only other games I can think of that really did a big VR experience was like Half-Life, or not Half-Life. We have Half-Life on the brain now, so Resident Evil, right?
Yeah, Resident Evil did one.
Like Resident Evil 7 was a big game experience with VR because like
And it
you
was
can
wicked.
experience the whole game in VR.
Yep.
Mhm.
But that's the only game I can really think of that really took VR and was like, we're just gonna make a whole game where you can play it in VR. And not have it where like VR was like strapped onto the game later.
Yeah.
Oh, and
'Cause
Skyrim
every-
VR.
Yeah, but like Skyrim wasn't VR from the beginning.
To begin with.
Yeah, that's
And
true. That is true.
I think Resident Evil was.
Yes,
but-
Resident Evil was created to do
But
VR.
that's like like they take those games and they take the full experienced games that you've already experienced playing them normally, and then they like add VR onto it, so it's just not the same. And with this being a VR experience being built from like the ground up, like it's probably going to be somewhat of a unique experience because there's very few games that they've done that. So
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. It's just it's very intense. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this Half-Life-ness that's coming out?
As far as so like kind of like I mentioned, I wasn't into Half-Life 1 and 2 as far as the game was concerned, but I obviously know of the value and the importance of it because I played Team Fortress 2. Like TF2 was my game, and for a long time people were always like, well, when's Half-Life 3 coming out? And they were getting off to it. I think as far as like Valve's let's look at it as business strategy, the move to make this a VR game, and if they want to pull people into their VR market, then pulling them into a game that's tagged with Half-Life would bring in a lot more people, because it's not just any game, it's Half-Life 3, one of the most anticipated Valve games ever to exist, and the game that people always go back to as the joke of like, when's the game coming out? Because like you said, it's been almost 12 years. So again, this won't pull me, this won't be like a nail in the coffin for, like this is why I get VR, but I think it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see Valve not obviously forgetting about a title, and then also bringing in for the people who have wanted it for so long.
For sure. Well, I mean, if you look right there on the screen, Kirby plus Kitty Cat plus Pikachu is 3,
go grab Kirby real
which
quick.
means Half-Life 3 confirmed. Boom, there you go, guys.
Oh,
But no.
look. Oh, this was in Rick's place all the time. All right, let me put it back.
But yeah, no. I mean, you're right. It is
Is that a bongo cat?
right.
Oh, Rick.
You're right though. Like
Rick, come
this is
on.
this
Bongo
is
flattened him. Dang it.
There we go. Green screen. I got one now.
Oh my
green
gosh.
screen.
There we go. I got a green screen behind
There
me.
you go.
All right.
Boom. They,
Okay.
but you're right. Like this is a great tactic. Like imagine if they did finally announce Half-Life 3 and then they turn around and say it's VR exclusive. That's a lot of sales that are gonna happen. You know,
That's
not
true.
that they would
Right.
do VR exclusive, but
Right.
you know, it best played on VR or whatever, something like that. You know,
Mhm.
it would be interesting. It would be a very interesting time if they did something like that. But
So
I'm
they're
excited.
obviously- Yeah, and they're obviously like releasing it as VR first. Is it confirmed or not that it's going to be also played like non-VR?
I haven't
for
seen
Alex?
anything about it being non-VR so far. All I've seen is VR stuff.
Sure.
I'm not
Based
sure.
based on the trailer and a lot of the interactions and stuff that they showed off in the trailer, like
Mhm.
I highly doubt that this is going to be a traditional first-person shooter
Yep.
style game.
Right.
And who knows, like this could be their way of like testing out to see if there's
Mhm.
still a market
For VR in general.
Yeah.
Well,
If they're throwing
and
that big of a
Half-Life.
title.
And for Half-Life, because they're like, oh, this is
Mhm.
like a spin-off title. It's not like a true sequel to Half-Life. And they're like, Alex was an interesting character, and it's kind of like a way of giving her her own game in the
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah.
And then also-
and you're not Gordon Freeman, and like, but this is like a totally different experience, and it's like a good way to like, because they're having it be Alex instead of Gordon Freeman, because everybody's used to playing him as a first-person shooter.
And safely avoiding like pushing and progressing the Half-Life storyline too.
Exactly.
They don't risk revealing anything. They don't risk moving the plot line.
Yeah.
They can still have a game that is related to it.
And if this game does well, who knows? They might actually keep pushing for Half-Life 3 eventually. Which
You want
might-
Half-Life
which-
3? Play this game.
If it's the same length as Half-Life 1, like Zombie says here, I mean,
Sure.
Half-Life 1 was long. I'm gonna say I felt it was long. I don't feel it's short.
Yeah,
So that's kind of it's a full game. So we're not just getting like some games where you get a VR thing and it's like 30 minutes long, an hour long, and then you're done.
Yeah.
It's like a
Like a
full
small-
length. Yeah, it's a full length feature game. So I'm excited. Like I said, I'm very excited. I've been waiting for Half-Life. The only thing is I don't know if it's only gonna be PC VR or are they gonna be releasing it for the PS VR.
What are the Half-Lives on? Is that PC only? No,
Some-
'cause they also have the orange box.
Yeah, the
So it's
orange
console.
box and console and stuff like that. But
Oh,
there's only
okay.
one. I mean, PlayStation's the only one that has the VR, right?
well, right now I think they've only talked about this particular game being on PC.
Yeah.
Like they haven't said anything about it being on PlayStation, which they could bring it to PlayStation, but
I don't have
They may
money
wait.
for another VR system.
yeah. They may just wait for the PlayStation 5 to see if they do anything to upgrade their VR game on the PlayStation 5, because that might be a better system for them to bring this to it.
True.
Yeah. Performance
then-
upgrade too.
Yeah. Because like if you're required to use very high-end graphics cards to do the Alex VR, then they would almost want it to be PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. Mama Remy, what are your thoughts on Half-Life? Because you used to be.
Never played Half-Life.
I was about to say you used to be a PC gamer. Wow. Can we kick her off right now? I think we have to. Let me just.
Cut off from the island.
Let me right click here on Remy.
Oh my gosh.
And I actually can't play any VR because it makes me sick. So I really
that's
get to
true.
like be out of the loop. So like
That's
any
okay.
like new and improved like VR games, it's like I can't play. So it's like anything that comes out on VR, it's like I don't even read about it. So it's like I seen it and yeah, everyone's disappointed. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna go over here and just leave. Bye.
You need to make like Bulb has a green screen. You need to make Mama Remy VR goggles.
Right.
There you go.
You need budget goggles. Yes.
Yeah.
budget goggles.
There it is, right there. Hey, I haven't tried. I never tried Oculus. I did get to try the what is it?
HTC Vive?
Yeah, HTC Vive at a PAX last year, which was really awesome. And yeah, the VR is incredible for those. Like, I mean, we're talking about very powerful system, very powerful computer, right? But if you match it up with the PSVR, yes, it's weaker, but it does the job on the PlayStation. It does a good job, definitely. But that's why I was hoping they would bring it on the PlayStation, because, like I said, that's the only thing I do have. I don't have well, here in Canada at least, it's $1,000 for any of the VR headsets. It's expensive, man. I can use that $1,000 for something else.
That's true. Exactly. It's a long way.
Yeah, exactly. Rick, what are your thoughts on Half-Life-ness?
Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things where like I'm pumped up about it, but I think we'll have to just wait and see what happens with it. Like, you know, like we'll have to wait and see what happens with this foam green screen. Like, you know, is it actually turn green or is it gonna stay white? Stay tuned.
So there we go.
but no, I think it's good for VR, and I think it's good for fans of the Half-Life franchise too. I think it's possible that we could very well get Half-Life 3 or not, but it's definitely, at the very least, it's more
white balance screen.
That's true.
I know. This is actually from like the foam from like my pro cosplay, and then I found a pink highlighter, and I was like, all right, green screen there. So I was like, that's all I got.
There you go. All right. So the Game Awards are coming up. Game Awards 2019. It's just around the corner. There is a lot of people who aren't happy with the nominations. There is actually a game that's been nominated for 8 different categories, and people are questioning it. They're not too happy about that either. What are your thoughts on all the nominations, if you've seen them? And do you think that this whole thing with that particular game, which I will say in a minute which one it is actually questionable? Or do you just think people are just being crazy again? So the game we're talking about is Death Stranding. It got 8 nominations, and people are saying that with the bad reviews it's gotten from release date, there is no nomination needed, or it should at least have gotten 2 or 1. So let's start with Mama Remy for this one. Ow.
Death Stranding is so good. Just zip it. People like they want to just complain about everything, and I think that's why, like, I don't like just reading reviews about a game. I want to review it for myself. There's just so many people that just because it's not the exact thing that they think it's gonna be, or they're envisioning this, and then they get this, and all of a sudden it's like this. It's like really bad. And there are games that come out every so often that take everything and sweep across the board. I mean, what was it last year? Wasn't it like Red Dead Redemption 2 that like swept everything and got it? And then like right at the last second, it was like God of War that won like the last award, and everyone thought it was gonna be Red Dead Redemption 2.
Right, yeah.
You know, so the only thing about and I've seen the nominees. The only thing that I'm kind of disappointed in is that it's about the same games over and over and over again. And there's a lot of really good games out there that could have been nominated for some of the smaller categories that these bigger games got into that kind of like upset me. Like one of them was like audio design. And I know a lot of people in this community have played Celeste.
Yep.
You know, why didn't Celeste get in there? And everyone talked about the music from Celeste. And that was a really big game. So it's like, why wasn't it in the indie section? You know, and then they've got Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in the family section. It's like, yes, Leslie, it's a totally family friendly game. Let's sit here, everybody, and smash on each other because we love each other so much as I do an upwards B and then shield myself and then like throw you off the cliffs. Like, yeah, hi, bye. You know, so yeah, that's about the only thing I'm really like disappointed in is the fact that there wasn't more games nominated, different categories. Now, the main games, yeah, you're going to see those repeated.
Yeah.
But other smaller games, they should have gotten these other categories, and they didn't. That's about the only thing I'm upset about.
That's fair.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Rick, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the more obscure nominations categories at least, and like I find it funny that the only family game ones are all on Nintendo. It's like there's no like
Yeah.
Xbox or PlayStation game nominated, and I don't even know why Ring fits in there. Who wants to exercise? Family? So like it's like, hey Dad, you want to exercise with me? Come on over.
Yeah. That's where that's
But yeah, so that's kind of lame that they kind of just like typecasted the family category like that. But I get it.
No, I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, still, it's
Yeah,
weird because
yeah.
if you notice, Pokemon just came out, but so did Luigi's Mansion a month ago, and
Right.
I don't see Pokemon in the list. I would have
Yeah,
assumed Pokemon would have been on the list
No.
because
Yeah,
it's hot.
Right.
But yeah,
I
keep
don't know.
going, keep going.
Like no, you're right. And oh god, I just noticed Tetris 99 is a multiplayer game.
Oh,
Oh god, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
No, but
Geometry Dash.
yeah, no, but as far as the game of the year ones, like the big one, I actually am okay with the nominations. There's some pretty solid stuff, except for I don't know what Control is. I haven't heard about that one. Maybe,
I was about to say that. I don't know what Control is. I've never even heard of it. Didn't even know it came out.
yeah, so I don't know, whatever there. But like Death Stranding is like you said, it's great. Gears 5, that's always good. Resident Evil 2, I haven't personally played it, but I want to, and I've seen people play it, and it looks amazing. So you can definitely tell, at the very least, they put a lot of effort and care into it. Sekiro looks a lot of fun. And then of course, Smash Brothers Ultimate. That's a lot of time went behind that.
Mhm.
Like a lot of time and effort went behind that. And then Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds is another one that I'm not too familiar with, but I know that it came out fairly recently as well too.
Mhm.
But I think those are some pretty solid Game of the Year things. Now you mentioned Death Stranding getting a lot of nominations. Yeah, Remy brought up a good point. How I think the same thing happened pretty much with like both God of War and Red Dead Redemption. But like,
Yeah.
I think the plot twist was, even though God of War, Red Dead Redemption was in like a million categories, God of War ended up getting Game of the Year, which kind of threw people off guard. And they're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
what? Because they thought Red Dead Redemption would have gotten it. So, I don't know how fan heavy the votes are, because I do know that they let us as fans vote.
Mhm.
But I guess, I mean, if it's very fan heavy, if we have a good stake on what wins, I guess it's really up to us, the players, to make sure we get our voices heard there and see if what made the best game win, I guess. So I don't know. I'm pumped to watch it again. And maybe we'll get a new Smash character review. I remember last year we got Joker revealed at the Game Awards
True.
from Persona, so that was really hype.
Surprise. Yeah.
So, and again, whatever announcements that could be popping up throughout that's a good time to do that. They like to, let people know what's coming out. Like, hey, hold on to your wallets for the holidays, kiddos, because this is coming out next year. And like, so it's a good time to do that. So, I think it'll be a good watch. But I definitely think there are some questionable omissions, like Remy said, some smaller games and stuff. And then, of course, Fortnite being community sport. I mean, whatever. There's no competition there, I guess. So.
Mhm.
But yeah,
No, for
that's
sure.
all I have to say about it.
What was I gonna say? What about you, Chadley? What are your thoughts on these nominees?
Yeah, I mean, some of them make sense. Others, like Control, like I heard about it when it came out, but I never really looked into it. Because I know it's one of those games where like it came onto the Epic Game Store. So I mean, when you guys were talking about why Pokemon's not on here, when was Pokemon released?
I think there is a cutoff. Like,
I have it up
Like
here.
a week ago.
yeah, like last Friday or something like that.
Okay, so there's a good possibility that if it came out on the 15th, because I pulled up their frequently asked questions. One of the questions is what is the cutoff date for the games to be eligible?
Right.
November 15th, 2019. So it's very good possibility that because the game came out on the day of the cutoff, that
Yeah.
it'll be in next year's Game Awards. So, and similarly, games that were released in 2018 are eligible this year. So Celeste, I guess, could be eligible this year for whatever reason. Like Remy is like saying that it's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not in
So-
there.
But then yet but yet they have a game that came out in 2017, which is Destiny 2.
Is Destiny 2 in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
for
Destiny 2
communities.
is in there, but that's
Why?
from 2017. And they have games like Fortnite, which has been out for a while now. So
Yeah, I
it's
mean-
kind of weird. Like, it's not the yearly game awards, like where it's showcasing games of the previous year.
Mhm.
So I was trying to figure out if there was a cutoff date of like how old the game can be to
Like a
be
minimum,
eligible
too.
as well, and I couldn't seem to
Right.
find that on their frequently asked questions. But and then when Rick mentioned about how they select the winners, like they have another thing on there, like so apparently there's a voting jury, like there's a jury
Mhm.
panel, which makes up for 90% of the vote,
Mm.
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
10% of the vote is public.
Yeah.
So like
See, so then
we
what's
can
the point?
vote, we
Right.
can vote, but basically us voting for me almost seems like it's just there to sway the vote if you have a tie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And also
So-
they're to like appease people to make it seem like it is genuinely.
Yeah, because
Voting
like
system.
if 90% go for one particular game, it doesn't matter what we vote
Right.
on. So like if the jury's unanimous on say Death Stranding, like
Yep.
pick something else and it wouldn't matter. So
Because it's 90% already.
yep. But so I thought that was interesting just to get a little bit of detail to how the inner workings of it go. But
Sure.
I missed it last year. Like I wanted to watch it last year.
Mhm.
And I know I'm excited to see if they announce anything more about Breath of the Wild 2, because
Ooh, true.
they announced
Yeah.
they did announce information on the first game through the Game Awards. So I'm curious to see if they'll have like another trailer come out for Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
There you go. For sure. Otteron, what about you, my friend? What are your thoughts on these nominees?
These nominees.
These
The
nominees.
Oscars 2.0
These-
for
the-
gaming. Essentially
Yeah,
now.
these exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, to be honest, I never really was very in touch with the Game Award. Any of the that it's hence why that's why I just looked at Death Stranding real quick. I mean, and I can kind of understand why Destiny 2 might be in that round, only because they also do a lot of DLC like Forsaken, Shadowkeep, and these are major installments. So maybe DLC play a factor in how these nominations come. It kind of refreshes the game a little bit. As for like the nominations that they select, I'm curious how much of this is swung by like the Game Awards and also the jury. I imagine that just like 90% of the vote for voting on these nominees, I feel like 90% of that stake is probably also related to how they're selected in the first. I feel like these are probably very connected. So there's a lot that comes with winning these kinds of things. Like this is not just like a small, like, oh, you won Game Awards, woo! Like these are major, like this brings major publicities to games, and so I can understand why people are so upset, because it's like, yeah, winning this title brings a lot of attention to your game. It brings a lot of attention to your platform, your company. So this is no small matter as far as like the companies and games are concerned. But the way that they're swinging it, I'm curious how. If this is like the first time we've heard of a voting jury, as far as you guys might know, if you've been following the gaming awards, if maybe in the past have they done that before? Has it been 100% public vote? I'm not sure. Maybe you guys have an idea.
I've always just assumed it was public vote, but I didn't. It's the first time that Chadley brought that up that I actually thought about it.
First time there's actually been a jury, and Stephie says you guys got to vote. I mean, so technically you do vote this year, but your vote only counts for 10%, which is a huge difference. Yeah. So it's kind of, if they are making that push and if they're making that a consistent thing, I'm curious how it would go this year. That's just with the Gaming Awards itself. As for Death Stranding, I can see how it's a great game. I don't exactly understand how it can single-handedly sweep across 8 nominations. Like there is so much variety in the gaming community, so much variety in the development community, that I'm sure there's other things that could have been picked. But like we said, if this trend is happening where companies and games are getting selected and possibly biased by a voting jury or by like other platforms and companies and stuff, that's going to be the root of a problem that we might see for a little bit, and I'm not so excited about that.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
you mentioned about how they get picked,
Mhm.
and I heard about this. I
Yep.
forget who was talking about it. And so there's actually like 80 different, like, hold on, I have it up here again with the frequently asked questions because that was
Mhm.
another thing.
Of,
It
like,
says
where they pick from?
how are the nominees selected, and it says here that it's an international jury of over 80 global media and influencer outlets. And just in the United States. So I was curious. I didn't care about any of the other places,
Yep.
uh,
I
but
know.
at least for now, anyway. I was like, because I'm not going to recognize any of the names from, like, because it looks like they have them in United Kingdom, United States, and then they have an esports category. So
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't know that was part of a certain country or anything, but so like some of them are kind of silly, like Entertainment Weekly. I'm like,
What do
like,
they know?
what did they have to say about games unless they have a separate division that we're just unaware of, maybe, that
Yep.
where they just talk about video games.
Mhm.
Hollywood Reporter, like, really?
Right.
I don't see the Hollywood Reporter being very knowledgeable about video games, but
Yeah.
LA Times,
Mhm.
Newsweek, like, these are obviously put here because they want to be here and to be a part of a big event like this.
Yeah.
But then the rest of them are
Publicity
like
thing.
are gamer related, like PC Gamer, IGN, Game Informer. So there's like a whole bunch of them that I recognize, and there's a bunch that I don't recognize. But there seems to be a good spread of like news outlets that
Different outlets of
don't, yeah, like you don't
from a
know
wide
that are in
variety.
gaming, but maybe
Yeah.
they are, and we just never know it because we're just not in on Entertainment Weekly. Like, we're not always there on Entertainment Weekly, or we're not always looking at LA Times. So like maybe they have a couple reporters over there that do nothing but gaming news. We just wouldn't know it because we just never look. So
Right. You know, other stuff.
yeah.
And on that note, I am literally biting my tongue because I didn't realize Verge is on this. And oh my gosh, in terms, so related to companies and news outlets that don't know what they're talking about, The Verge, with the hype
Oh.
of this year, and I have a
They're on the panel too. So
yeah, they did a how to build your own custom computer build, and they screwed up.
Oh, I remember
so
that.
bad.
Yes,
Do
they
you remember
did.
seeing that?
Yes, I did.
If you want to have a heck of a laugh, just look up like Verge computer building reaction, because you don't care about just the video. You want to see like actual tech YouTubers watching them do this horror show of building it. It just reminded me that, listen, not every news outlet knows exactly what goes where, especially in this case, in the gaming nominee selection category. So, oh my gosh. Ooh, yes, I can totally see that being a big thing. Why we have so many weird nominations.
Right.
Oh,
Oh
That's a
man.
laugh.
Well, speaking of nominees, we have Resident
Mhm.
Evil 2 that's come up a couple of times on the nominee list.
right.
But surprisingly, some other news came out. This came out from Spawnwave. If you guys don't know who Spawnwave is, he is a newscaster of video games and whatnot
Mhm.
on YouTube. So definitely want to go check him out. And Spawnwave brought out a story saying that he got information that Resident Evil 3 Remake was rumored to be possibly announced during the Game Awards. We weren't sure if it was going to be if they won Game of the Year or just in general, but that is the rumor that's supposed to be coming out, and it's supposed to have a release of 2020. So, in saying that, Capcom did promise that if Resident Evil 2 was to sell extremely well, they would
Mhm.
release Resident Evil 3 Remake. Well, no, they would do more remakes. And obviously, Resident Evil 2 did really well. And now we're getting this rumor. What are your thoughts on this? And do you think that this is the perfect time to be announcing another Resident Evil remake? So let's go ahead and start with Rick.
Yeah, no, like, so I was touching on this a little bit before the TacoCast, but I've actually never played Resident Evil 1 or 2 and 3. So I think I've heard they've done great things with the remakes of 1 and the remake of 2. and I think it's great because the fact that they're a lot of people don't agree that they saying, oh, come up with original ideas, remakes suck, but like what,
Yeah.
sometimes if it's a franchise that had such an impact on a generation like Resident Evil did, they were like, I remember like seeing a trailer for Resident Evil, I think it may have been 1 or 2, probably 1, when I was a kid, and it scared the crap out of me, and like the graphics were terrible, but like I was still terrified, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And like that had an impact on a generation, and like so now years have passed, and this gives a chance, because a lot of that hardware or software is very pricey now. If you want to play the original, you're gonna have to pay an arm or leg for it. But if they're making these remakes, one, it'll have a nice new coat of paint, which isn't always a bad thing.
Sure.
And then two, it's introducing it. Think banana. It's introducing it to a whole new generation of players that may not have had a chance to touch on it, like me. Although I was there when it came out, but like I've never played before, and so for me, even though I've never played that one, I am very fully aware of Resident Evil's reputation in the gaming community, and I'm excited because I feel like since they're going all out by releasing the original trilogy, I think it's high time for someone like me to give it a try, and I think it's exciting for fans that have wanted the third one to be out to do it. And I've heard nothing but good things. I mean, you can see it; it's nominated for Game of the Year. Resident Evil 2 was a great remake.
Yeah.
So if they put the same amount of care and effort into the third one, then I don't see no reason why they shouldn't do it. And if they announce it anytime soon, that'll be awesome to see.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't know. What about you, my friend? What are your thoughts on this?
So as far as like, again, this kind of, for me, this fits in the category of the Half-Life deal. I didn't really get into Resident Evil series, but as far as, I think for me, more importantly, is the idea of them saying like, well, if telling people, okay, well, if you enjoy this game, then we'll do a remake. It's kind of, I guess that's a smart decision as far as like, it's kind of like from a content creator's perspective. If I'm doing a video or if I'm doing something that I'm going to create from a community, I want to have feedback and be like, okay, well, if you guys actually enjoy this, then sure, we'll do more of it. So I mean, from a big conglomerate company, I guess that makes sense. It's kind of along the same lines. But kind of like Rick said too, there's also some remakes are really, really incredible that you get to re-experience and relive a game at a higher quality. I think especially for like nowadays, because technology is kind of like pushing forward, and because we're getting such like new graphics and whatnot, at the time when these games were released, they were cutting edge. Crysis for the longest time was like considered as the hallmark. That was like the game to be to like high quality and graphics and whatnot. Obviously, as we move up, people's expectations, the bar raises. And so for a lot of people, if you do a remake and a company invests that time, it's a huge plus, because not only are you catering to that new standard, and people who have played the franchise from before get to relive that experience, but then also a whole new market of people who maybe never got to experience the franchise and don't own a PlayStation 1 can then play the game and experience that for themselves at the level of quality that our current time has for technology. So I mean, I think it's a great move on every level. And especially if they're making the choice to kind of check and see if the community wants that first, I think it's a wise move. So if the rumors are true, I think that'll be really cool. Personally, can't say that I would play, but I think it's really important, especially for that community and for the communities that appreciate that game. Both people who have played in the past and people who are potentially going to play it too.
Yep. No,
Can I say one thing real quick? I do wish that I know they did it with 5 and I think 6, but I do wish they would for some of these old remakes, maybe they would go back and try to make it co-op, because that would be a lot of fun.
Interesting point.
Yeah, and that would be, you're right, that would be super fun. Like, say you would play Leon and then I'm playing Claire, and we're communicating and doing different things and seeing how it'll affect us as we're moving. That'd be really interesting.
I feel like they could do it, but maybe it's gonna take. It takes a lot of more behind the scenes effort than we think. But it'd be neat.
Could.
Yeah.
Well, especially with a remake consideration, if they're really pulling from like PS1 and going up to PC or whatever, they are basically rehauling the game.
Right.
Like it's a full redo of the whole game.
Right.
And so just being able to slip in co-op, if that's not too big of if it's just literally like adding one player to the mix, it might affect story a little bit. But if you're already re-encoding the whole game,
right,
easy addition.
Yeah, for sure.
Now multiplayer is a whole another thing. A whole other basket.
No.
Yes.
Right? Mama
fine,
Remy,
too.
I know you don't play the spoopy stuff. But what are your thoughts on the Resident Evil-ness? I think you did watch a little bit of me playing, didn't you? Like when I was playing.
You made me watch Slenderman. I was like, I had like a blanket, and I was like watching like this, and every time you'd scream, I would scream, and it would get like this, so I could barely see. So, I have watched a few people play Resident Evil games, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna say hi, and I'm gonna like hurry up and leave, and then I get sucked in because the storyline, it's like, wow, this storyline's really good, and it's like, and then all of a sudden, like, something jumps out, and I'm like, ah! Go run off crying, and then I have to watch Scooby-Doo before I go to bed because I'll have nightmares. But I hate jump scare games. Like, it's just horrible. Yeah. But the Resident Evil does have great storylines. So, from what I have seen. So, but I do like the fact that retro stuff is in. So
Yep.
the fact that they're taking a lot of these games and they're doing remasters, remakes, they're coming back out with these games and letting a new generation see these games for the first time, and the generation that grew up with them experience it again, like Otteron was saying earlier, is great because it gives them time to come up with better games.
Yep.
If it's sense, it's like, here, have this cookie while I make the dessert. Don't pay attention to this. You want the cookie.
True.
No, it's true. And it's true because I know a lot of people who have played the remake and then they turn around and say, well, what is the original one like then? And then they want to see. And actually, speaking of remakes, one of the coolest completionist feature I've ever seen on a game is Medieval's remake. If you complete everything 100% at the end of the game, they actually give you the full copy of the original Medieval.
Whoa.
For the PS1.
Yeah.
What?
So
That's cool.
it's a nice little feature. So it makes you want to play it 100%, and then you get this copy of it, and you're like,
Yeah.
what? I get the original one too on top of that.
That's
So-
motivation.
Nice.
Yeah, I know that.
Nice.
There's one way to
That's
motivate people.
cool.
So it's really cool that they did that. So you're paying $30 and you get basically 2 games in one, right? So
All right. I'm
There
gonna
you
go to
go.
GameStop real quick. I'll be right back.
I know. I keep saying I'm going
geez.
tomorrow. I want to pick it up because
That game looks neat too.
it's a very nice game. If you've never played Medieval, you should definitely check it out. It's a fun game. It's a very fun game. It has this it has that spooky Halloween feel, but it's very like what's that? The one that went, this is Halloween, this is Halloween. Yeah,
Nightmare Before Christmas.
it has that type of feel to it. So if you like that one, you'll
Tim
like
Burton.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chadley, what are your thoughts on Resident Evil 3 Remake? We asked your chair, but he was very quiet.
Yes.
Yeah, he's very unopinionated. So.
Neutral
No,
like
it's
Switzerland.
exciting. I'm sorry, what?
Neutral like Switzerland.
No, it's exciting because I have yet to do Resident Evil 2. I played through Resident Evil 1 on my GameCube because that's technically the first remaster that they did.
Yes.
And then the actual remaster that everyone's playing now is based off of that game and not the original, because there's a lot of changes that they made to the game when they did the remake, which was very confusing for me because I thought they didn't. And when I was trying to help someone play the original, I was like, oh yeah, you got to go over here and get these things. And he's like, what are you talking about? And then I find out that they're only in the remaster. So, but no, I mean, I'm excited for Resident Evil 3. Like, if I play Resident Evil 2, I'll probably just play the remaster.
Yeah.
Since I've never touched Resident Evil 2 before at all.
Sure.
Just,
That makes sense.
I mean, yeah, graphically, they're like, it's just superior, and it's a different experience than the original too. So, I'd be curious to see if they change anything with the Resident Evil 3, or if they try to do the more traditional approach.
Yep.
Do a remaster, but keep some of the mechanics the same as the original game. But
Yeah.
yeah,
no,
so
for
it's
sure.
exciting.
It is.
They're doing great. They're doing great with the Resident Evil series. So
Yeah, they've gone back to the roots, and it's nice to see that. It's really nice to see that.
mhm.
All right. So, some other news. 2K social media accounts were hacked, and some very, very inappropriate things were said. They were hacked by, I just noticed that I put by like goodbye instead of bye, by Chuckling Squad. Do you think this was done for more of attention, or do you think they had other thoughts for this? So let's go ahead and start with Mama Remy.
Kids, if you're gonna hack and you want to do this type of stuff for attention, go get a good job with the government or Microsoft that's gonna pay you to do all the fun things that you want to do without getting in trouble. That's all I have to say.
Rick, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, that's a good thing to say. I mean, I do think, I don't think there was any like, hidden agenda or thing. I think it was just kind of just like, hey, man, this guy doesn't have two-step verification. Let me get in on this.
Yeah.
Like, and they just kind of took advantage of the situation. And that's very unfortunate, though. I mean, that's, I'm sure when people find out things like that, it skips a beat and they're like, oh my God, what the heck? And so you don't ever be on that wrong side of the fence. So definitely, I mean, and that's a good point. Like, there's like, not necessarily LifeLock, but there's things where like, there's these companies out there that like, can protect your passwords. And if you're a big, larger corporation like that can afford it, you just do it, because, it'll save yourself a lot of, damage control and the hassle of having to deal with little kiddos and squiddos that are trying to hack into your account. So,
Exactly. Like, I mean, it wasn't even that they, like, it'd be one thing to do something major. It was just, oh, look at this. I have this. And it's like, there's nothing, it was so irrelevant, all the stuff they were saying. So it's like, oh my God.
yeah.
Chadley, what are your thoughts on this craziness?
I'm totally in the dark on this. Like, I never even knew it really happened. But, I mean, this happens all the time. I mean, companies feel that they're safe. Their sites get hacked, or they... Like, are this like actual social media accounts for 2K? Like, their official accounts got hacked? Or are we talking about...
Yeah, so like Facebook, I believe Twitter, and I can't remember what else. There was a couple of them that got hacked. And it was like their Borderlands side and all their different sides were basically hacked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, all this, this stuff happens all the time, but like, yeah, when big companies just don't keep up with their security with this kind of stuff, it's no different than with us. Like, security is key nowadays. Like, everyone should be educated in a little bit anyway on how you can keep yourself secure. And when companies decide not to care about it, this is what happens.
Right.
So, but so yeah, I don't know much about it, but I mean, it's nothing new. Like, other companies have had this problem as well. Right. So
Exactly. That's why all my passwords are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Exactly. No one will ever hack that one.
Nobody will ever hack that.
No longer.
I don't need to hack it now because you just told me. So.
Taco burrito.
We got all the fun of it.
I know. At least make it a challenge next time.
I was gonna add an @ but I just thought that would be way too much.
That always trips him up.
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you, buddy? What are your thoughts on these guys hacking stuff?
Again, kind of in the dark about 2K specifically.
Yeah.
But this is a case in point for almost every other account that's out there. A couple people that I'm close to, one of my mods in particular, like this week alone has had emails come up being like, hey, somebody tried to successfully logged into your account and they tried to reset your password, but he had 2-factor authentication. Public service announcement, please enable 2-factor authentication on everything you have. Like,
yeah,
that is a big
it's beautiful
safeguard for protecting you because it's on your phone. So I mean, people have talked about in chat as well. There's just a lot going on, and I don't know if this is because of a lack of security somewhere or somebody has found a new method for getting past these things. But like anything, it's just a case in point of be careful of internet safety, big time.
Yeah, for sure, and I agree with you 110% on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. We didn't get any viewer questions, so I think we're safe. Everything, I know. Everything we talked about is basically all that's been really out there for gaming. So it's been a really good stream. Lots of crazy stuff with gaming, rumors, games that come out, Sword and Shield. The only thing actually, we haven't heard anything on Animal Crossing, right?
We don't know much about anything for the rest of the year, actually, for
Man.
any of the major consoles. Like, that's why, like, you know, it's just, I don't know. There's really no major releases, I guess. It's kind of a quiet holiday for, usually when I look back on past holiday seasons, you know, all the gaming companies and they're trying to get their games out for the holiday rush, but really there hasn't been much this time around. So I'm wondering if they're building up for like the next gen of consoles, trying to put all their eggs in that basket, or if they're just kind of just
That could be it too.
quiet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows? Well, again, thank you, That Bald Gamer. Thank you, Autoron. Thank you, Monremy
Sure.
and Chadley for coming out. Guys, if you are interested, all these beautiful streamers, their links are in the description below. You'll see their name and each of their link there. You definitely want to go check them out. They are awesome content creators. You'll love them for sure. But yes, thank you all for coming out, guys. My TacoCast live stream happens once every end of month on the last Sunday, so definitely want to check it out for all your gaming news and all that jazz. So thank you guys again for taking the time off and coming out and helping me with this. I super appreciate it. I know that it's really hard to get everybody coordinated and figuring things out, so I really thank you. So thank you. Thank you, you guys, for coming out and hanging out with us. Let's go ahead and find someone that we can raid. There has to be someone out there that has next to no one that we can go surprise.
Hashtag Stadia sucks raid.
The Stadia sucks raid.
Hashtag PS5 for fighting.
Let's see.
Hashtag taco.
Let's see. She's streaming Zelda. No. I'm looking for someone, but everybody seems to.
I'm looking too.
Is there another podcast we can go raid? No, there's not, because Spanishdude is the only coolest podcaster around.
I have
Say
one
something
person. The team, their name is Team Ion. They're playing Minecraft right now. If you guys want to go and raid them. All right, let's do it. So yeah, thank you guys. Let me go ahead and grab their link here. Oops. Let's go on this epic raid. Let me grab my internet stuff here too. Now they're a little loud, so I know I have to turn them around right away.
Wow, they've got fancy shaders and everything.
I know, she has all the fanciness. Perfect. Okay, let me give you guys. There's the link. We're gonna use hashtag TacoCast raid.
Hashtag TacoCast, right?
TacoCast. Thank you guys for hanging.
Yeah, thank you all for hanging. Let's go ahead and give her this epic raid.
Yeah, looks like
Oh,
it's
this is perfect.
solidified. Awesome.
Until next time.
That
For
means I can
sure,
start
Taco.
knocking out all this stuff here and making my farm.
Beacher saying.
Nah.
Aw. We're
Let's see.
giving them tons of peeps.
Yeah, hopefully they know it is. Because I know sometimes they forget to put their chat on.
Right.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's happened a couple of times. Let's see.
I'm getting some seeds. Oh.
Come on.
I will have bread
Wow,
for
okay.
days.
Come on. I honestly don't think they
Is that
have.
audio though?
TacoCast raid!
Oh, there we go.
Ah!
There he is.
What the heck? Who's TacoCast? Who's TacoCast? Well, thank you for raiding me. I'm getting kind of bored.
Kind of bored.
I'm getting bored here because nobody was watching. See, that's why I love doing these big raids. It's awesome. All right, guys. Again, thank you guys. Guys, if you're interested in my content, I do streams on Twitch and I do live videos on YouTube. And then again, at the end of every month on last weekend, we do TacoCast live stream. Definitely, you guys want to stick around and check everything out. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, all of you beautiful people. And again, all their links are in the description below. Take care, have a good one, and don't forget the most important thing in the whole wide world. Come to my live stream. I'm super famous.
Come on my live stream.
Take care, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.